Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for those who are joining us from different parts of the world. We have received delegates coming from 11 countries. So from wherever you are welcome, and we are absolutely excited to host you today. Today's topic is advancing and supporting the participation of women in the energy and power sector. My name is Betha Dlamini. I am the founding president of African Women in Energy and Power. And today we have put together a program that will surely ensure that you receive credible market information on the energy and power sector. We are aware that we have delegates coming from different countries. Our content is focused on the South African market, but I do believe that you will be able to glean insights that you can use in your specific market. So do not lose hope, but follow the framework. I'm going to ask Tawela to please display my presentation so we can kickstart our discussion this afternoon. This afternoon, we are talking about advancing and supporting the participation of women in the energy and power sector. I would like you to follow this as a framework that you can use for your specific market. A framework to assess opportunities, a framework to assess the structure of the sector. So if you're looking at your own energy and power sector in whichever country that you have dialed in from, we are encouraging you to follow the framework of information sharing that we have put together for you so you can apply in your specific market. This framework will help you to identify opportunities. It will help you to build your own value proposition. It will also help you to establish credible value exchanging networks within your market. We will look at, please go back to the previous slide. We would look at the regulatory regime. We would look at the regulatory framework of South Africa, regulations associated with various power generation technologies and their value chains. This is to illustrate that to participate in the energy and power sector, it is necessary for entrepreneurs to understand the policies and legislative framework that prevails in your specific environment. We would look at access to technology. Here, this is where we invite our original equipment manufacturers that speak to trends across energy generation, transmission, and distribution. They will also flag the demands of technology by utilities and other private sector players and highlight suppliers in those value chains. If you wish to participate in the energy and power sector, it is important that you know what technologies are trending and prevailing in your space and who the suppliers of those technologies are so that you can create networks that are valuable. We would look at building professional networks. As you know, your network will determine how far you will progress in your career and in your entrepreneurial journey. And so we look at the ecosystem of the energy and power sector and the players. And when we structure our programs, we try to invite players in the ecosystem that can share information on how the energy sector is structured and how the players within the sector work together. So we look at municipalities. In other countries, you may call them counties. We look at provinces. We look at the national and regional space. Next slide, please. To date, as of last night, we had 383 delegates registered. 91% of those delegates were women. 37% that were registered were already operating in the energy and power space. 66% want to be entrepreneurs in the energy and power space. And we have 11 countries represented. This means today, we hope that you will receive and you will note information and insights that will help you navigate your entry into the energy and power sector. Next slides, please. In your journey, as you explore participating in the energy and power sector, know that it's a continuous learning journey. You never really complete the learning journey. And I would like to highlight in the South African market, it is important that you are familiar, you understand the integrated resource plan, which is the country's electricity infrastructure roadmap. You will not be able to identify opportunities in the sector if you do not understand what the electricity infrastructure plan says and its timelines. I have highlighted a link to the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy's website, where all the acts and the policies that govern the energy and power sector in South Africa are listed. If you're truly interested in participating in the energy space as an entrepreneur, it is important that you identify which part of the value chain you wish to participate in, and therefore study the legislative framework that governs that particular area. Internationally, it is important to also study the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, understand its provisions and its expectations of member countries. The Africa Agenda 2063, which speaks to the Africa we want. As we know, in the continent, access to reliable electricity is still a challenge. That challenge presents opportunities for entrepreneurs that want to participate in the sector, both in the public sector and private sector. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals has got specific targets for all those goals. In our organization, we focus on contributing to Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which speaks to gender equity across multiple sectors, and we are focusing on the energy and power sector. Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which speaks to access to affordable clean energy, which presents a plethora of opportunities for entrepreneurs to explore and find ways to participate. And Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which talks about creating sustainable employment. And we believe that SMMEs, entrepreneurs, will drive job creation in our country and in the continent. Today, we'll be speaking to access to market, which talks to utilities that we'll be presenting today. Access to technology, we've got an original equipment manufacturer, Rockwell Automation, which will be giving a presentation on channel partnership. Access to finance, we will be hearing from the Development Bank of Southern Africa, which is a development finance institution, speaking about access to finance. And of course, access to credible information. We've got industry players who are entrepreneurs themselves, who are going to share their experience and how they have surmounted challenges that they faced in the sector. So without further ado, I am going to welcome, first we wanted to see if Ms. Refilwe Mukhosi has already joined. If she hasn't joined, I will welcome Ms. Lomile Mudisela. Ms. Lomile Mudisela is from the city of Tshwane. She is the Director, Energy and Electricity Technical Services at City of Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality. She joins us today to share what the municipality is doing to advance its electricity access to its community and the regulations that govern that. Lomile, please take over.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I hope I'm audible enough and I can be seen on camera.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. As Program Director has already mentioned, my name is Lomile Modiselle, Director Technical Services at the City of Swan Municipality, South Africa. I will be concentrating on the support of the participation of women entrepreneurs in the municipal environment, more especially talking about the renewable energy. Next slide, please. First and foremost, the municipalities to integrate the energy, the renewable energy in municipalities. We actually want to achieve the following: accelerate the deployment of renewable energies, which we know that the municipality is very close to the communities and are able to improve the economy of South Africa due to that. So what we need to do, the energy projects will alleviate actually the poverty, and will create jobs, will improve welfare, most importantly, strengthen gender equality as well. And to also, we want to realize the potential, tap into the wider pool of talent, mostly the talent that is underrepresented. For example, I made an example of women that are underrepresented in business space currently. If you check the study by the study by Arena in 2019, that was released in 2019 November, the International Renewable Energy Agency, they mentioned that women representation in the renewable energy space is 32% in the workforce only. So in business, they mentioned that even participants are actually 1% of the participants. So we really this needs to be focused on. However, on the next part of the slide, I'm actually explaining the reality. In actual fact, the nature of all renewable energy projects, they bring energy choices to the households and the community on the community level, where women tend to have greater voice. So that is why we are saying women are important in this space. What are renewable energy strategies in our municipality, in the City of Swan Municipality? I'll also add in the same list with the current and the future projects that the municipality is focusing on. You will notice that I did not mention any targets, because some of the targets were in actual fact supposed to be completed this year, but they haven't been completed. So everything that is on this list is still in progress. The promotion of small-scale embedded generation. We know that the SSEGs, it's a new thing that came about 2 years back in our municipal space. So we needed to start by creating applications, to fixing our bylaws, the policies that guides the SSEGs in general. So I'll call this still in process, and we already started with everything, and then the application process is taking place smoothly. We also want to explore the full cost and benefits and decentralized renewable energy power options versus current electric grid expansion. We have already done that, and we are able to see that the country is actually moving in the renewable space platform rather than the grid. The support that we give to the national peak, plateau, and decline in carbon emissions The city has already started. In actual fact, we are the city who implemented or even bought our buses that are electric cars to help in reducing the carbon emissions in South Africa at large. And then we as well assess the financial needs and the institutional and regulatory barriers that prevents the widespread implementation of renewable energies. We also want to have PV systems installed in all our COT buildings. This has started, and we still have a lot to go. We are at the lowest percentage. I mean, we only have one building that is to a house so far, and others are still coming. So business opportunities are going to come more in future in our city. We want to have our LED street lighting conversion. We have also started with this one as well. We are converting our all street lights to LED. However, as well, we are still in process and still need to do a lot of work with regard to this one. And we want to have our traffic lights as well, 100% of them to be on LED. And we are also hoping to achieve this one. We have been talking about it. That is to convert the large waste to energy project for all our landfill sites and the water treatment plants. And this is still coming as well. And then the renovation of our 2 coal-fired power plants for use of cleaner fuels as well is still coming. So those are our projects that are still coming in the municipality. Next slide, please. The challenges in terms of implementation is the training and skills development. We will remember that most of our municipalities, we have been using grid most of our lives. So moving to renewable energy space, we needed to have more training and skills development for our employees to be able to implement, as well as when we receive the applications from different companies, from different customers, we had to learn a lot. And I must say, GIZ has been assisting all municipalities in conjunction with SALGA to improve how we do our renewable energy projects. Funding as well is one of the issues that will give challenges to the municipalities. That is why from the previous slide, I mentioned that some of the projects, we have been planning them for a long time, but they haven't been started due to the challenges, I think, of funding and others. The other challenges that municipalities are having is that we, as municipalities, we are being led by political leadership. So if that political leadership is unstable, some of the projects that we plan to do for ourselves, they don't get to be done as they were supposed to be completed because of the leadership instability. You will remember our municipality has now the 3rd mayor, I think, in 5-year term. So some of the projects might be hindered by those type of challenges. Next slide, please. The benefits and the opportunities for women entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs at large in our country. I've just included the amendment in Schedule 2 of Electricity Act that the Department of Minerals and Energy Resources are currently on consultation because they need to consult first with different municipalities or all stakeholders ensure that they implement. This is still a draft, but I put it here because I just thought that this is an opportunity for more entrepreneurs who want to, build their business further, because you will remember for a small-scale embedded generator to apply in the municipality, they were only allowed to apply up to 1 megawatt. So if the department is thinking of increasing the 1 megawatt threshold to 10 megawatt, I think it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs as well in on our side, in the municipality side. It's also assisting us in some of the issues technically. So that is why I put it here as one of the opportunities. We will know that the country now is still suffering due to ESCOM capacity with regard to load shedding. So most people will be moving to renewable energy. So this will help and assist a lot. The legislative framework of the country, which is guided by the Supreme Law, the Constitution of South Africa, 1996, Section 217, that states that all businesses or tenders have to be completed fairly, and the fairness must be applied, which means that our women entrepreneurs will benefit from this as well. The Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act 5 of 2000, and the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment AWEaP Act 53 of 2003, with the corresponding codes of good practice of 2007. All of them assist how the entrepreneurs or the tenderers in the municipalities are going to be selected, because it stipulates the preferential point system. So basically, when the tenderer is being selected, and then when you are a woman, you get some higher points than when you are a male entrepreneur. So these are some of the opportunities that we have, because as municipalities, there is nothing that you can do. We are guided by the legislative framework, strictly so. And then the umbrella for all of the above, all of the BEE and the PPFA is our Municipal Finance Management Act that we follow strictly in terms of selecting the tenderers. So Section 110 to 11111 guides municipalities as to how to deal with tender selections in the municipal space, and adding to that is National Treasury Regulations 2007. Then from all of the above, then the municipality will have their own SCM policy, supply chain management policies that guides how the municipality will do tender selection or anything that will that is the process in the supply chain management. So everything will be guided by the above acts that I have mentioned. So it's very important for women to understand all those acts and the policies and processes. Next slide, please. So for the entrepreneurs to be considered in our municipality, we basically follow the same process with all other municipalities that says an entrepreneur or the business will have to register as a vendor in our municipality. And to register as a vendor, it's a simple process of completing the form, the registration form. That registration form will have all the information that is needed to be attached, or all other documents that needs to be attached to the form. which are the signed declaration certificate for local content, company registrations, SARS tax clearance, VAT compliance certificate, relevant company shareholder and partnership agreements or certificates, certified and current business bank accounts, and all important important documents that needs to be submitted. But the form that you get from our website will have all the information that you need to submit to register as a vendor. So it's very important to have all documentations so that you can be able to be qualified to proceed with the tendering processes in the municipality. Next slide, please. The access for the information of everything that I spoke about in the above is on our website, www.tshwane.gov.za. For SSCG applications, we have the email that is specifically for that purpose. If you want to apply for the SSCG, you send your email to sscg@tshwane.gov.za. And with regard to the tendering processes, all the projects that I mentioned above, that some of them are still coming, you'll be able to see the advert on the printout, meaning the newspapers, broadcasting in the media, including in our website, in which when you are a potential vendor, you can be able to check all those sources of information for you to apply for any tender that you see advertised in the municipality. With all that, I would like to thank you. I think the next slide is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lomile. Indeed, you have highlighted a lot of critical information for us to consider. The integration of renewable energy in your metro. You have spoken to some strategic focus areas. You have also spoken about the procurement policy to sensitize our delegates in terms of awareness when they need to, when they wish to provide services to the municipality. Before I take question and answers, I would like to invite Ms. Refilwe Mukhosi, who's the Executive Director at Public Works at Mfuleni Local Municipality, to a conversation around some of the challenges that local municipalities are facing today that present opportunities for women entrepreneurs. Ms. Mukhosi, are you with us?
Thank you, Program Director, and good morning to everyone. I'm here. I hope you can all hear me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. I just would like you to share with our delegates the challenges that you believe local municipalities are facing today, and how those challenges actually present opportunities that entrepreneurs can explore to take advantage of.
Okay, thanks, Program Director. So probably, I think background is very important. The question that I have for you and for everyone is that where are we now? Where are we going? And how are we going to get there? That's the first thing. So just to give a little bit of background, you hear that the previous speaker has spoken about the processes, especially in the municipal space or in the utility space. I've been in the utility space for more than 20 years, be it at the local government or, and also at ESCOM. So what I see as a challenge still in the energy business, Program Director, is that you look at an executive level in the utility spaces in terms of the women that are represented there. We start there. I will make an example whereby I report to the municipal manager I've got other 8 executive directors that we report to the municipal manager. I'm the only woman that is there. There, you see that there's a challenge. There is no a balance. And that, as a result, it tells you a story to say, even at the private sector, the women that are aspiring or entrepreneurs, it means that we've got a challenge in that space as well. The gap is very huge. You go through the service providers that we have, most of them are owned by males. We've got few that are owned by Black women or any other woman. So that is a challenge. There's still a gap there. And I see an opportunity for women to participate in that level, to ensure that we've got enough service providers or entrepreneurs in that space. So the question is, do we understand as women as to, especially in the utility space, how do we get to the projects? So I just want to give that background to say that we start with the integrated development plan, which is a 5-year plan. And we therefore move to the service delivery budget implementation plan, which is a yearly plan that will talk about the projects that the previous speaker has spoken about in terms of what we have planned, and therefore the budget of the municipality. When it comes to the budget of the municipality, obviously it's through the internal funding, which will be coming from the rates that we get and so on. We'll have the grants that we get from the other spheres of government. We'll have the loans. Obviously, I've heard that I've seen on the program, we've got somebody from provincial government, they'll give information on that. We've got somebody from DBSA, they will give information on that. So those are the source of the budget that will talk to the projects that we have. Obviously, those projects will be coming from the consultation that we would have done with all other, or with our community that drives the projects that goes into the municipality. The previous speaker spoke about the understanding in terms of bidding. I see this as an opportunity for women in terms of understanding the bidding process, because that's where it starts. If you look at the MFMA, when it comes to technical evaluation, or when it comes to the evaluation, we've got 80-20, which it means that technical functionality, it's 80%, and 20%, which is the triple BEE and the other things. So it's therefore there's a challenge, because you look at the total points, or the highest scoring bidder. Most of the time, or what we see is that we get more points from technical functionality, and we get less points on the triple BEE and stuff. So what I want to stress there, probably from all the spheres of government, starting from national, it's a discussion that we need to talk about going, in future, in terms of how do we make sure that we increase that 20% to probably 30%, so that we can give more women, or probably even 50%, so we can give more women an advantage. Because as it is now, truly speaking, based on the experience, based on the projects that companies have done, which is what we look at, we are for sure, making women fail, if I may put it that way, because if you've done 10 projects, already you've got more points than a person who's done one or nothing. So we need to make sure that we look at that as part of the discussions. Obviously, that talks to the policies that needs to be changed, that needs to talk to MFMA. There is, many policies that the previous speaker has spoken about, which we need to look at all of them. But I see this platform, Program Director, as an opportunity for women that are here to understand in terms of what is it that is required, what is it that is needed, to ensure that we close that gap, Program Director, in terms of having more women bidding. Understanding is very important. Because that's how you do business with the utilities. If you're not going to get if you can't get that one right, there's no way that you can make a business with the municipalities. So I would like to maybe encourage those who are in this platform, those who are aspiring, those who are still in that business, to ensure that when they're doing a bidding or filling in their bidding documents, they make sure that they do it correctly. And let's use this platform to assist each other, Program Director, because if you're sitting there at your corner, it's difficult, and to break the wall is just so difficult. So I see a lot of opportunities there, Program Director. And I hope that with the discussions as we carry on, women will get, or people in the, anyone, who's aspiring, they will get more information and ensure that, they follow the bidding process correctly. They fill in the documents. They make sure that they get information. You look at the period that we are at. I'm currently in another meeting where we're discussing the IDP and the budgeting of the municipality. Obviously, very soon, if you look at municipal space or municipal space, it's almost our financial year end. We are planning for the next financial year, which is starting from the 1st of July. Obviously, part of planning is that we need to advertise tenders that we require to ensure that we achieve our goals. So it's very important to understand also the municipal budgeting process, so that when to expect tenders that are coming. So this is the time. As soon as we finalize and say this is the budget for the next financial year, 2021-22, it means immediately we're starting with the procurement process. So you need to look out, especially at this period, until somewhere there around September, whereby we'll therefore start looking at renewing the contracts that are 3-year contracts and so on. But this is a very important period for the local government. Program Director, let me just stop it there. I know we've got speakers that are coming. They will talk to some of the challenges that are there and how we can address them.
Thank you. Thank you for the guidelines that you have given. Just before we let you go, I would just like to ask a bit of a technical question around the technology that you have seen is in demand at utilities. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Okay, thanks, Program Director. I'm going to be honest here. Normally, you will hear that the kilowatt hour business is dead. That is true if you look at the future. What I mean about that, Program Director, is that local government at this present moment, 99% of our business is still on an old system, if I may put it that way. The word just went. So we're still working on buying electricity from Eskom, distributing it to our customers. So you look at the current technologies that we're using, it's still the old business whereby you get, you go into a substation. That's the equipment that you get, the switch gears. You still get your you go to distribution side, the mini subs, the procurement, the protective enclosures, and so on. That's what we're still using at the moment, a program director, and that's what's still in demand, because that's how our network is built at the current moment. But there is, we need to look at the future as to what we expect. You remember my first question as to where are we now and where are we going? So I see an opportunity for women entrepreneurs to tap into space of energy and to look at the technologies that are there. The previous speaker spoke about waste to energy. Currently, we are doing studies, most of the municipalities, including my municipality, in terms of waste to energy. So we want to partner. We're obviously looking at the triple Ps. We want to partner with private companies so that we can have those, power stations being built and so on. Program director, you will remember, in terms of the financial state of the country currently, it's very bad. So you look at the capital that you need to build those stations. It's a lot of money. So the question, especially to local government, is that do we maintain what we have currently with the little that we have, or do we put more money for our capex to build new infrastructure? So right there, Chairperson, there is a gap. We need to get to a point whereby we partner with those who have capital so that we can build those energy stations. And, we get to a point whereby we say, City of Tshwane, Emfuleni or Ekurhuleni, we are able to, provide, or maybe our 80% of our energy is coming from the renewables. So that's where we need to look at, and that's where we need to, I think, spend a lot of time to ensure that we prepare ourselves so that when these opportunities come, we are ready. You will hear people, Chairperson, when they say that it took them 3 years, 5 years, they've been working on this for them to realize the output. So this is the time where we need to put more, more energy to ensure that we cover that space, so that when it opens up, especially from the local government, we are ready as women to tap in that space. Because currently those who can afford are already, in that space. As more and more, you'll see that private companies, the mines. I've seen an article not long ago whereby I think it's I can't remember now, where they're going to build they're going to build, I think they said the panels and so on, in terms of their energy supply. So you can see that local municipality, if that mine, they do their renewable energy, they build that that station for themselves, it means 80% of the revenue is gone, or 50%, depending. So the municipalities now are going down in terms of the revenue, or the revenue is decreasing, and it means that we need to do something about it. That's why I said currently that's the discussions that we are talking about as local government, to say, how do we make sure that we get into the space of the renewable, we are able to generate our own energy and distribute it. Chairperson, yeah. I hope I've answered you.
No, you certainly have. And thank you so much for sparing time to join us and to share your views on where opportunities lie, especially highlighting the budgeting cycle that entrepreneurs must be aware of and must follow and watch out for those tenders that will be released between July, beginning of the municipal financial year end, and around September. That is critical information. One area that you've highlighted is the focus on the distribution network of electricity as being the area with the most opportunities. As you have clearly said, a lot of local municipalities are still working on the old system. So opportunities still exist for asset management, for maintenance, and any technology that will assist local municipalities to efficiently manage their distribution network and to efficiently ensure that they are supplying electricity to the citizens. Thank you very much for that contribution. Ms. Mudisela, I'm coming to you. In the questions that we are receiving from our delegates, one question was, you spoke about the vendor form that entrepreneurs should register, should complete and submit. The question is, with the central supplier database registration that is driven by National Treasury, is it necessary for entrepreneurs to complete both? Ms. Mudisela, you're on mute.
Sorry about that, Chairperson. Yes, it is necessary to fill in the forms. Remember, you must remember you are now filling the form for specifically the city that you are applying for the vendor for, because we have different municipalities that has got different SCM policies and that. So if you apply in the city of Tshwane, you need to be in the database of the city of Tshwane. So you will need to fill in the form for the city of Tshwane. Thank you.
Great. Another question that was asked is if municipalities or local government have databases for women entrepreneurs in the energy sector.
On that one, yeah, I must say, can I get can I receive the question? Maybe I don't know whether I can respond to the question afterward, because I'm not sure, as I'm not in the Department of Supply Chain currently, to see if they separate their what you call the suppliers in terms of whether it's women or not. But I think they do separate them, but I haven't seen the same, what you call, specific document.
Thank you. The final question, I see a lot of our delegates are asking if the presentations will be shared. Immediately after the webinar, we will load all presentations on our website along with the webinars report, so you will have them accessible in that format. I would like to welcome right now Ms. Elizabeth Murabwa, who is the Chief Director, International Cooperation at the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. She will be talking to us about gender mainstreaming programs that exist within the department and generally initiatives in the sector that also illuminate opportunities for delegates to explore. Ms. Murabwa.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity on behalf of the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. I had prepared a presentation which was going to cover legislative framework, Department of Mineral Energy Resources mandate, the challenges that we have confronted, and then go into the details of the opportunities that are available. I would want to skip issues related to the legislative framework, since it has actually been ventilated on the program, and it has actually been adequately covered, except to indicate that whenever government is giving out business, we are bound by the Constitution. And an important principle that we forget as women sometimes is the principle of price competitiveness. I will discuss that when I delve into the issues of challenges related to accessing opportunities. As the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, we have actually complied with the legislative framework in terms of ensuring that we encourage our stakeholders in the energy sector to be inclusive and to see within their business the advantages that women bring in participating in the energy sector. What is very critical and important and has been established is the fact that including women in business is no longer a nice to have, but it is a fundamental right, it is an economic imperative, and it also makes economic business sense and contributes to companies' bottom line. If you go to the second page 3 of the presentation, you will find that there are studies that have been conducted that clearly demonstrates that companies that have more women in leadership actually makes more profit than those companies that are not inclusive and that are not taking women on board. So it is very important to have self-confidence as women that studies have clearly demonstrated that women as leaders, as members of executive boards, as managers, have actually demonstrated that they make companies more profitable compared to those companies that do not have women within their leadership, within their rank and file of employees, and within their boards. So that's a plus, and it's a demonstration that as women, we are able to do it, you are capable, and we are promoting and ensuring that you participate in the energy space. What have we done as a department to make sure that you can compete in the space, you can have space for yourselves? We have looked at the constitution, complied with it, UN our development plan in South Africa, we have complied with it. We have also looked at the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have considered that and reviewed the way we do work and the legislation in the department, and developed a South African Department of Mineral Resources Women Empowerment and Gender Equality Policy. Basically, that policy requests that in every policy that we are going to be developing as a department, we develop it with women in mind. We also, as a matter of fact, not only look at women, but we look at women, we look at youth, and we look at people with disabilities. And we want to ensure that all the energy policies, we hardwire participation of those 3 designated groups so that they equally participate in the energy space and in our economy. Then in order to give effect to the policy, because sometimes a policy is nice to have, and people don't implement it. Companies don't implement it. Even government itself may fail to implement policies. We have developed, and the minister has approved, the Women Empowerment and Gender Equality Strategy for the energy sector. And that strategy actually outlines the specific targets that we would want to see from our energy stakeholders, including the Department of Mineral Resources itself. So we wish to ensure that women effectively participate in our programs, women effectively participate in our projects, and that will be supported, measured, and monitored through the implementation of the strategy, which comes together with an implementation plan, which has got specific targets. The implementation plan is going to be running for 5 years, and we have reports annually and have an audited report at the end of 5 years. So we encourage you to participate and make sure that you are counted within that beneficiaries of the strategy. Besides the strategy, we also want to inform you that we have offices that are in all the provinces that are dealing with licensing, which covers mining and petroleum products, and it also the offices provide support services which focuses on small-scale mining and integrated energy centers. But most of the gender focal work is actually mainly at the head office in Pretoria. We can also request our colleagues in the province to assist you. We have also developed a Women in Energy Business directory, where you as women operating in the energy sector will be registering yourself. We have about 330 women on that directory. And the reason for having formulated that directory is that when big companies come to South Africa wanting to invest, they always say, no, there's no Black people that can participate and be our partners. There are no women that can work and provide services in our companies. So developing the directory has now dispelled that myth. What we need to do now is to take the directory a step further to ensure that it's interactive. We link it with other companies so that when opportunities are available, women are immediately alerted. But that doesn't stop you as a company owner to be actively looking for opportunities. So in a nutshell, the strategy has been developed, the directory is there, the women opportunities that have been identified throughout the past 5 years, they are also available on our website. You can Google the directory, the website addresses are available on this presentation. Please follow them up. In order for us to also be effective and interactive with the implementation of the strategy, we recommended that we establish what we call a Ministerial Advisory Council, which is a number of women and men from different energy sectors that would meet with the minister once or twice a year to appraise the minister of empowerment and transformation issues within their space, and provide guidance and restructuring of the implementation plan if there is a need. So we will be going out to nominate those ladies and a few men champions that will be sitting on the advisory council, and we will present the names to the minister for approval. Then in terms of partnership, we also establish partnership with the SADC region. We establish partnership with the African continent, and we also establish partnership regionally. We work sometimes with the BRICS. We also work with the Ministerial Energy Ministerial Council, which is an international association of ministers that are focusing on clean energy globally. So in a nutshell, we really are supporting you as women, and we want you to effectively participate in the energy space. The foundation has been laid. It's for you to take up the challenge. Then in terms of the actual opportunities in the energy space, before I discuss that, I have had complaints from women that, Elizabeth, you always talk about opportunities, but we do not actually get appointed. We do not get involved in big projects. We are excluded. Something is not right. I then decided to be part of one of the big bids in the department so that I can understand why my colleagues are not giving opportunities to women. I was shocked because one thing that clearly came out is that as women, although we may have access to information, we do not synthesize the information, we do not position ourselves, we do not prepare ourselves to take advantage of those opportunities. A good example is colleagues would business people would submit a proposal, and in the proposal, they've not done a market-related pricing analysis, where you are supposed to charge 1,000 rands per delivery of a unit, you are charging 4,000. So in that case, you are automatically out, because the Constitution itself says we need to conduct our business in a cost-effective, price-competitive way. So if we cannot give you a job at a cost which is 400% higher than what another least competitive person is. So being a 100% owned company is not a ticket to getting an opportunity. It gives you marks, but it doesn't then allow you to participate if your pricing is not correct. Your technology also has to be appropriate and to comply with basic things that have been indicated by the first presenter, that you'll find that people submit a tender document where they take CVs from other people and they don't analyze how the CV has been structured. If the CV is of a project leader, but the project leader doesn't indicate what he has done, what was his experience, how many years, what projects did he do, where are his references, then you miss out marks because of that. So all those nitty-gritties, please make sure that when you put in your bid is complete. You have done your price analysis, you have included all documentation required, and the CVs have been checked. So in a nutshell, we encourage you to participate. What if the department have in store for you in terms of business opportunities? The first issue has already been discussed on the small scale embedded generation. The minister has promulgated and approved that there will be no registration for anyone who wants to have a small scale embedded generation, which is 1 megawatt or less. And currently we have already a number of projects that are valued at almost 124 megawatts that have been registered with NESA, and by 257 generators. So that's a standing opportunity. Municipalities through SALGA have already committed to be procuring from small scale embedded generators. And you as women, you need now to come up with funding, with the technology, and do the marketing, have your right pricing, and approach relevant municipalities in order to sell your projects. As my colleague has already indicated, a consultation is on now where the minister wants to increase that small embedded generation from 1 megawatt to 10 megawatts. That becomes a sizable business, and it also suits your pockets, because it's not like 100 megawatt power plant where you need about 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, which we may not be able to access now for most of us, but a few can. But so let's take advantage of that opportunity. It's open, it's available, and it's easy to access. The requirements are very simple. Your registration is you make an application to NESA, you ensure that you have a consent letter from the municipality. You also have a power purchase agreement. You also have a wheeling agreement, and you pay a registration of 200. We have included on the presentation where you are actually going to be able to Google and register, look at the requirements, and participate. NESA is waiting for you. We have already spoken to them. Then we also have a big program that the department launches on an annual basis. That is one of the biggest projects in the country. It has got a budget of about 5 million, just below 5 million. And that project is rolled out in many municipalities across the country. We call it the National Electrification Program. I have been in consultation with my colleagues, and I told them that, colleagues, I am busy talking to women about opportunities in the energy space, and I have nothing to give them. I have nothing to say, this is what the department is driving. And yet, as a department, we are responsible for ensuring that 5 billion is spent on an electrification program. Can we carve out a percentage for women, and they
Please pardon us. I think we have lost Mrs. Murabwa by some technical glitch, but she will return to continue her presentation. In the meantime, I see questions. I'm going to read out questions from Tabe Mpasha. How can municipalities ready themselves in terms of utility financial management, given that municipalities have been doing bad in this regard? The corporate governance in municipalities can directly collapse or uplift new or upcoming IPPs. I think it's a fundamental question that a lot of stakeholders in the sector are asking and are very curious on how municipalities will be in a position to fulfill the integration of renewable energy. I think I don't have an answer directly for this. I think there is the district development model that is being spearheaded, or at least the Development Bank of Southern Africa, DBSA, is an implementing agent of the district development model, and such issues, financial management, asset management, revenue management, and all elements that drives the operational performance of a utility will be addressed through that model as government seeks efficiencies across its entire value chain. The next question came from Fadila, and it spoke to the incorporation of people living with disabilities. Indeed, that is our commitment as an organization, and I know that Ms. Murabwa covered this in her in her presentation. Just looking at other questions that are coming through. Is it possible to link and partner with the ladies in here? Please, I'm from SA, raising funds, sharing ideas, and segregation or duties in group is better than doing it alone. Absolutely. I will share with you an email that you can send your information, and as we send thank you comments to our delegates, your email will be included, your contact details will be included in your email so that you can pursue those collaborative relationships. Ms. Murabwa, welcome back. You may proceed from where you left off.
Thank you very much. When you're talking about things that you are passionate about, you forget to check that your battery is low. I apologize for that. So in terms of the INEP program, we have agreed with the colleagues in the department that 30% of that budget should be designated for women, for youth, and for people with disabilities. That amount of money is transferred to part of it to ESCOM and part of it to municipalities. We have signed an agreement with ESCOM and with the relevant municipalities that are participating in this financial year in the program. And the agreement is that each municipality, when they subcontract work to be done for the renewable energy, for the national electrification program, they have to make sure that women are included. And we have a team that is ready, that is going to audit all the municipalities that are participating and all the ESCOM projects to ensure that on those projects, women are included. So there you are going to be enjoying part of the nearly 5 billion that has been allocated to the municipalities. In terms of the projects, they will be advertised on the National Treasury website. Both the municipalities that are contracted and the ESCOM, and it's on the website pages 263 to 274. So look at the municipalities that are participating and make sure that as of July, you start checking now, because they know they have money and they are now advertising. Start checking now, participate, and make sure that your bids are correctly put together, you have got skilled people, you have got the right information, your pricing is correct. If you are a supplier of poles or whatever is required, please ensure that your price is competitive. The edge is there. You have a caved niche for yourselves, but do the right thing. And we are hoping that if women perform positively, we will now negotiate to increase that amount so that you can enjoy this particular part of the cake that is issued out to business on an annual basis. We will be recording and accounting and then coming back and telling you what has particularly happened in that space. So there you are. Then the last, another important opportunity that I also forgot to mention is the issue of the off-grid electrification program, which we spend about 430 million. That is advertised on the department website. You continue to check the website of the department and ensure that you participate in it. It's very easy. We now have women that are already working on that space. They are doing an excellent job. We audit them and we have not had any specific complaints. We also have another program on the solar water heater program, which we also advertise from time to time. We have women that we have even awarded as leaders in the renewable energy, in the solar water heater program, particularly the installation part of it. Adverts will be coming out, look out for them and make sure that you participate, but your bids as well. I keep on overemphasizing this: right price, right packaging, ensuring that you do your research and you give a good project proposal. So another last but very important opportunity, which requires now deeper pockets, which also requires more knowledge, intense skills, opportunities and access to technology, is the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program. We have had an emergency power producer program, which the minister has already issued, and it has been awarded during 2020. 2,000 megawatts were given to 8 preferred bidders, and these have already been appointed. But last year we had a workshop where we told women that this other bigger cake is coming, be ready. We invited you to the bidders conference so that you can meet and see the bidders, establish networks with them. If you missed the opportunity, it's not a problem. The successful bidders, including those 8 that have already been successful, will need to construct the power plants. They will need to operate the constructed power plants. They will need to provide maintenance to those power plants, and they will need also support opportunities such as cleaning, security, environmental management, logistical services, even sanitary services, because these things, they will be located out in the bush. They need to have all those services. So communities that will be living around the community where the plants are actually constructed can participate, but there's nothing to stop any one of you that is involved in construction to go and tender for the construction projects. And there's nothing to stop any of you who have been working in the ESCOM operation plans and other small operation plans to be contracted to operate the plants, because it's very easy. If it is, say, a wind power turbines, a few of them, you have a small control room that you now operate with 2-3 people on shifts and so on and so forth. Then in terms of maintenance, it's also, some of you have been technicians for many years. You can form a company, do a bit of training to ensure that you acquaint yourself to the relevant technologies and provide maintenance to those. So those are big opportunities that are coming. The bigger ones for the renewable IPP programs themselves, they are currently in the bidding process. If you are interested and you have prepared from last year, you need to make sure that you participate. I know that for you to get the bidding documents, you must pay 25,000 rands, because I indicated that this is for big people with deeper pockets. If you don't have the 25,000 rands, wait for the smaller projects. If you have the 25,000 rands and you have done the homework, please go for it. But when you go for these ones, you also need partners that will be able to partner with you in terms of technology, the skills, the research, and the putting together of the project proposal. It's an extensive and intensive work. More information about the IPP program is also available. When this is offered to you, you'll be able to look at the information, access, and then participate in that particular bid. In a nutshell, in order to conclude so that I don't waste too much time, from a legal point of view, from a legislative point of view, we have mapped and ensure that we engrave in the rules your participation in the energy space. We also have made sure that women who are working in the framework is there. It's up to you to now take advantage of the opportunities. The department has done its best. The ball is now in your court. We also want to urge you that whenever you participate, please ensure that you have done adequate research, done market analysis, have competitive pricing, have skilled people to support you, have your financials in place. And I'm glad that Betha has also invited funders to participate on this platform. And it's important for you to have direct networks with those funders so that when you take your project there, what we have learned is that if you are a woman with men sitting on the other side, the first thing they say, you know nothing, and your project is in the bin. So please do network with these bankers so that you have information, you know what they want, and you present yourself in a way that allows your project to be funded. Then information, we make it available. It's on our website. You can go there, you can get more. We will be interacting with more sessions. And part of joining people like organizations of Betha, we are also trying to promote them so that they become the leaders for dissemination of opportunities and information. So that's why we are supporting and being here. And we will do that to many more women. But it's important for you to go through all these different institutions and getting the information and participating. What is very critical is be part of the directory, put your name there. When there are opportunities, we will alert you. Then important, and lastly, you cannot do some of the projects alone. You need to form strategic partnership. I'm glad that there are women and men from other African countries. They will be doing the IPP programs there. They need to know who you are and start partnering with each other. When you do projects here, look for other partners from outside. It gives you a link to participate, not just in South Africa, but in the continent. In terms of energy demand, we are the continent which is going to demand more energy than anyone else. So congratulations, ladies, you are in the right business. You are going to make money and to do big business. And if you do it at a continental level, it's a bigger success. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Your last words literally had, had me so inspired. This is the reason why, as AWEaP, we structure this information sharing platform so that anybody, anyone can access this information. Our presentations will be available on our website. I have seen a lot of questions. Some of them are really technical, and I will encourage you that when we do publish the report, we will speak to other stakeholders to help answer. For example, because the Eskom transmission and distribution grid is unstable, this is a question from Michelle Klassen, is the Eskom grid is unstable? Sorry, as I read, other questions come and block my screen. Are we expecting to see detached microgrids separated from the grid in the future? I think the answer to that is definitely yes. I think there is a movement for a distributed generation as part of a diversified energy sector. But I will say we will publish information on some of the specific answers to the questions. We are going to publish a poll which is basically our way of measuring how you are experiencing the information session, how you are experiencing our speakers. So if you can just spare 2 minutes to answer questions from the poll, you can answer it on your screen. If you're on your mobile, you will be able to answer it on your mobile. It will be displayed on the screen and you'll be able to select the answer that resonates with you. Tawela, please proceed. I can already see the poll on my side with the first question being, do you have a better understanding of opportunities in city of Tshwane? The second question, do you know where to access tender information? The third question, do you now understand programs for women from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy? And lastly, were the presentations informative? We're just going to give it a couple of seconds and we will move on to yet another exciting a presentation coming from Mrs. Kanina Mabena Dladla, who is the Managing Director, South Africa and Country Sales, Africa at Rockwell Automation. We'll just give we'll give the poll a few seconds, and we'll move on to that presentation. Great. We'll move on. Welcome, Mrs. Mabena Dladla. We are so grateful to have you. She is also, you're currently on mute. She is also, she also sits on our advisory board, ensuring that we have the requisite insights on the industry so we can structure these platforms in a way that is relevant for our beneficiaries. Please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you so much, Betha, and thank you to everybody that's joining us today. I think before we even go to the next slide, let me do a little bit of talking about Rockwell without selling Rockwell Automation. But I think if I don't, I wouldn't be doing any justice to everybody. So Rockwell Automation, known by everybody in South Africa as Alan Bradley, has been in South Africa for many years, since from the early 90s. But up until last year in October, we were just known as Rockwell Automation Sub-Saharan Africa. So when I joined the company last year on the 1st of June, I was mandated to make sure that Rockwell Automation becomes Rockwell Africa, not just Rockwell Sub-Saharan Africa. What does it mean? It meant we needed to make sure that we join and become one Africa. So we had to connect with the Rockwell guys from East Africa, the Kenyan side of the continent, and also North and Central and West of Africa. So previously, North and West of Africa was working closely with France. So we had to do that. So I was given the 3 months to be able to put it together between June and October. We did that, achieved very well. So the next move was for us to make sure that we are known in those countries. Difficulty in it is because of the pandemic that we've had last year that we still have now. As we all know, when you open new branches, when you open up to the whole continent, you need to be there so that you can have the touch and feel, introduce yourself, network, be able to connect with people, which has been very difficult. But I think what helped us a lot, and me specifically, was the fact that our strategy is all about not going directly, but working with channel partners. So Rockwell globally is working with distributors and SI. So we call it our partnership principle. So it's a partnership model that we have, which we are also implementing in Africa. We can go to the next slide. As you can see on this slide, it is clear that we've been working with partners since 1903. Obviously, 1903 was not in South Africa, but it was globally. Of course, Rockwell is a US company, but it's a multinational. It's very strong in EMEA, very strong in Mensa. We report directly to EMEA. I'm responsible for the whole of the Africa business, reporting to Middle East and then reporting to EMEA. So between 1903 and 1992, you will see that we were growing very slowly, but still using what we call the Allen Bradley model of doing business, which is partnership. Partnership in terms of system integrators and also with channel partners. But in 1992, what the company did, they formed what they called Automation Fair event. Automation Fair event, I can say it's more like our AMEU that we have once a year, every October. It's big, it's in the US. They invite all the channel partners, end users. We all meet in the same place where we get to network, where we get to get more technical information. We get to meet people that we might be competing with globally, but mostly we get to meet our colleagues. So when you're a partner of Rockwell, you're not just somebody from outside, you become one of our colleagues. So you go to the US, you meet some of the people that might be in the same market as you, of course, in different continents. We share ideas, we exchange ideas, and we form a networking sessions, which most of the time it's a long-lasting one. So Automation Fair is every year in October, November. Unfortunately, last year, because of the pandemic, we didn't have that. We had it visually, which was not the same as when people are there. So there was no feel and touch. There was no proper networking. It looks like this year we will have it the same way. So hopefully next year we can have a bigger one where we can take more people across to the US, where we can be able to network and engage with different people from different industries and different continents. So it has gotten bigger. You'll see that, please go back to the slide before, please. You see that in 2016, where we were celebrating 25 years of Automation Fair, it was big. They had about 15,000 attendees in total from all over the world, including in Africa.
Sorry, ma'am, can you speak closer to your mic? Some of the delegates are struggling to hear you.
Oh, okay. And now?
It's better. I think you have to stay close to your mic all the time. Otherwise, you sort of move in and out.
Oh, okay. Is it much better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm not sure what they have missed because I'm worried they've missed the important part. Okay, so let me proceed. If there's something that you missed out that you didn't hear, I will repeat maybe later on towards the end. So in 2020, we launched a new distributor segment model, which I'll speak about later in the presentation. In 2021, which is this year, we've also launched the new RCSI model for the whole world, so globally, which we're also implementing in Africa. We can go to the next slide, please. So before I even talk about what you are seeing on your screen now, keep in mind what I said earlier on, that our strategy as Rockwell Global, it is for us not to open legal entities in different countries, but to go with our channel partners, our distributor model. So for every country, we try and look at distributors local to site. Like I've mentioned before, that we are now Rockwell in Africa. Currently, most distributors that we have are in South Africa for the Southern Africa market. So South Africa, Botswana, Zambia. Unfortunately, nothing much in Mozambique. We have opened a new distributor last year in October, November in Kenya. We have 2 in Nigeria. One was working with Rockwell for many years, but there was one that joined us. We have a French one that is working in Morocco and also in Nigeria. What is disheartening is when you look at most of these distributors, only the ones in Nigeria are from Africa. The ones in Kenya are from India. They've moved from India, they're working in Kenya, they've seen the opportunity. And I've asked myself, when someone moves from India to come to Africa and sees an opportunity, where are the Africans? where are the people that are local to site? The same thing also in Morocco, and the same thing again in Algeria. I've asked myself to say, if we've got someone that's coming from France to open a distributor and also a SI in those markets, what happened to people that are local to site? So part of that question, maybe some people will be able to help me to answer it later. So when you look at the partner network that we have for Rockwell, it's very different. You've got what we call the authorized distributors, where we allow people to sell our brand, Allen Bradley. Everybody knows Allen Bradley brand. So Allen Bradley is a brand within Rockwell. All our PLCs and our drives, we're still using that brand as Allen Bradley, but the company is still known as Rockwell. Unfortunately, when it comes to how we are doing it, it's not specifically out there for males or for females. It's open for people with the knowledge, the people that are capable of being able to go there and say, I can have a market share, or I can work with certain industries. We've got system integrators, which we also partner with, which we are doing also very well in South Africa, but not well in the rest of Africa. In the rest of Africa, since we became Global Africa, we only have one, and that one is also in Nigeria. So it looks like only Nigerians are awake. And what I like about that is also that RSI is also a Nigerian company, so it's local to site, and I'm very pleased and happy with that. We've got what we call EPP, so Encompass Product Partners, which it's a third-party system which helps us to be able to get all the technical knowledge that we want, to get all the partners together so that we can share the knowledge and see how quickly can we be able to solve the problems that we have and challenges with the applications in the different industries. Then we've got what we call developers. In this case, when we talk about developers, I'm not mainly talking about the IPP side, but I'm talking about licensed developers that we give you the license within Rockwell. So you come in, we've got what we call minimum tests, where we have to put you through just to see your level of your understanding, where you are for automation. And where we see the gap, of course, we will help you and walk you through the different levels that we have, and we will give you the licenses based on where you are currently. And we also work with OEMs. Today, the OEMs that we're working with are global OEMs. So there is no local OEMs. So all the global OEMs that are in South Africa, like in the automotive industries, that's where we are strong. So if there's anybody else who is an OEM and interested in working with us on automation, we are also open for that. We also have, if we can please go down. No, I didn't mean the next page. I just wanted to see is, so we also have what we call the strategic alliance partners. Strategic alliance partners is all our partners globally together. Like I said, when you go to the automation fair, you get to engage, network with a lot of other distributors. By doing that, you also get involved with the other partners, so you form part of the strategic alliance partners globally. You've got access to that. You've got access to solutions. You've got access to services. Together, you can work together without being able to call Rockwell. You can engage with someone that you think maybe we are doing wastewater in South Africa, but you've met somebody who's part of the strategic partners, maybe let's say in Brazil. This gives you an opportunity for you to be able to engage with them directly without you going through Rockwell, because you're part of that strategic partner. So it's a bigger network, more like AWEaP, but at a bigger scale. Hopefully in the next couple of years, we can be that big. Please, let's go to the next slide. As I said before, distributors for us, it's what we use as access to market. Some people normally say, when you become a distributor and you work with us closely, do we open doors in terms of introducing you to the end users? We do, where we already have the relationship. But the expectation internally is you need to make sure that you've got the coverage in the market. You need to be able to amplify what we already have, because we've got installed base, and you can be able to use that to your advantage. But by doing that, you can also knock on other doors where you can be able to engage with other industries. So currently, the industries that we are strong in, it is what we call MMC, so mining, minerals, and cement. We're very much strong in energy. We're strong in what we call water, wastewater, food and bev. We are very strong. Automotive, unfortunately, we're not that strong, but it's an opportunity. It's a sector I'm willing to work with anybody else who's got a better knowledge than we have in Southern Africa. But today we are not that strong. So if you've got the knowledge and you are strong in automation, please knock on my door. I'm willing to work with you. The reason why we also believe in distributors is, for us, we feel it's also the only way that we can be able to improve the speed in how we deliver our solutions to the market. It also takes away the cost issue, so it reduces the cost because we don't have to hire a lot of salespeople, because our distributors becomes our salespeople in the market, our business partners in the market. And by doing that, we also get access to the market information and also competitive intelligence. Please, let's go to the next one. So you create your own demand creation. You have your own logistics. So what we call supply chain internally. So we keep minimal stock, because part of the agreement between us and our distributors is you need to be able to keep stock. We come in, we bring our technical expertise, we assist you in terms of what stock do you keep on board, but that is based on the market that you currently have access to, the end users that you're working with, and even the industries. So we do that from our side to help you as a partner. So you become a one-stop shop for the customers that you're working with, and for the market that you are currently taking care of. You become the first level technical support. So we also give you that technical know-how. We train you. We open our training courses for our distributors and also for our SIs. So every time there's also a new product on the market, we make sure that we engage so that you know exactly what is happening in Renewable globally and Renewable closer to you. Unfortunately, because as Renewable, being American, you understand we might not be flexible with credit and terms. But as a distributor, you've got the potential to be able to negotiate with us and be able to give better terms to your own people, so to your customers that you're working with. Also become more flexible than we are as an American company. And you can also be able to customize your logistics. So we assist where we can, but you come back to us and say, Rob, well, maybe you said I needed to keep 10 or 20 VSDs. In terms of the market and the opportunities that I'm seeing out there, it looks like that is not working for me. We sit down with you and we help you customize your stock, and also in terms of how can you run your logistics together. Remotely also, we can do that, we can help you do it. Order consolidation. So that's what you can also do, where you can only order once a week. And by doing that, it gives you access to better stock references than other people have, and you can actually be able to service your customer base much better than your competitors. Product information, you've got that. You can log into our website, which is part of the Partner Alliance, and get all the product information that you need. You can also reach out to our technical team in the US, in Europe, and also locally for any assistance that you need for the product information. So you become one of us. I hope you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, some are still struggling to hear you. You tend to move back and open the mic, and when you do that, we lose you. But also, you literally have another 3 minutes to your presentation.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when we look at our strategic distributors, you've got 3 different ones. Saturated, where you can be in one area with 10 or 15 other distributors and you do your best. Or you can have selective, where you say, I am only focused on utilities. Can you work with me on that? We do that. Or you can be what we call limited. So when it comes to limited, it works per area. So we can't have 2 limited distributors in one area. So let's say in the whole of, I would use Ekurhuleni, we'll have 1 limited distributor who takes care of everybody, not just energy sector or power, but all industries. So when you become limited, that means you've got the know-how of taking care of multi industries. Please, let's go to the next one. Our approach is simple. So we implement the limited distributor strategy. We work with you very closely. We train you. We assist you where we can. Even when you do the events, we hold your hand. We do the events with you because we are partners. For example, we'll be having our first Africa event in Nigeria in July. I will be also going there to work with our distributors in Nigeria to help them. We have the whole technical team in Poland and also in Abu Dhabi and in South Africa, making sure that this event becomes successful. So the distributor is not all by themselves. The three fundamentals that we spoke about is also the APR, which is the area of responsibility. Like I said, in Ekurhuleni, you can only have one if you go for the limited model. So we committed, so you must be committed to promote Allen Bradley or Rockwell products only. You can't have us and our competitors if you go for the limited model. And you cannot also sell to other people that are not authorized sellers. How much time do I still have, Betha?
There is a question that says, what opportunities, platforms does Rockwell have for women entrepreneurs in South Africa and the wider Africa? What is the criteria to become a distributor? I think if you can just answer that question, and then we will obviously share the presentation on our website with your contact details.
Okay, I think let me try to answer it this way. Today, when you look at distributors that we have in South Africa, they're all males. We don't have any females. And not because we block females, because no one is knocking on our door to say, what do you need for me to be a distributor, right? So, of course, you need to have the know-how of the market. So let's say you say, I want to be a distributor for utilities. We also will ask you, have you worked with utilities? What is your knowledge? What is your technical capability? But you need to be very strong on automation, especially process automation. So that's one of the prerequisites that you have. But you need to come on board so that we can be able to share more with you and see which level, where are you, because we've got different levels. Currently, like I said, we've gone to Africa, and in Africa, we only have 3 channel partners that are Nigerians in Nigeria. The rest of the markets are people coming from outside. For me, I am opening the door for the people in different countries to say, wherever you are, if you are in Senegal, if you are in Kenya, in Tanzania, please send me an email because I would love to work with you, provided you've got the right skill, which is automation skill. So the opportunity is there. We will train you. We will assist you. We will work with you for years.
Fantastic. I think just for the sake of time, because we are just about to get to our next level, I would like to thank you, and I would like to say to our delegates, this is actually a very great opportunity. One of the ways of gaining entry into the energy space is becoming a channel partner for a specific technology that is demanded by utilities, by commercial clients, industrial clients, in the private sector, even residential estates where there is a large number of customers. What Rockwell Automation is presenting is an opportunity for anyone in any country on the continent who would like to partner with Rockwell Automation for their automation technology for the energy sector, to make contact, receive the training that is required on their products and their solutions and systems, receive their support, and in order to secure opportunities in the market. In other words, you will become their footprint in the continent. And I think it's an exceptional invitation that I would encourage everyone who's interested, who has an automation background, who is interested in information technology, fourth industrial revolutions solutions for the energy sector, to make contact with Ms. Kanina and learn more about what Rockwell Automation can do to empower you. We're going to, and I also apologize for the slight sound glitch that we had. We're going to run a poll. Thank you so much for your presentation. We will share your presentation on.
I may say this. So what we will do is, with all the events that we will be having in the different areas, like I spoke about the Nigeria one, we'll also make sure that we invite AWEaP so that you can have access to the information, to the presentation that we're doing, and maybe also to the customers that we will be engaging with in different areas. So not only in Nigeria, but all over, including in South Africa.
Fantastic. We've just had another opportunity. All the events that Rockwell is planning on the continent will be shared with AWEaP, and we will indeed share it with our beneficiaries. We'll run a poll for 2 minutes, if you can just bear with us to give us your feedback. And then we go into a very exciting panel discussion with people who have actually had firsthand experience in the sector. The first question, and you can proceed to select your answer on your mobile or on your laptop. Do you have a better understanding of channel partner opportunities at Rockwell Automation? And finally, did you find the presentation informative? Those who are looking for Ms. Kanina Mabena's email address, it will be shared together with her presentation. It will be published on our website as part of the event report, so you will have that accessible. Thank you very much. The next session, I am so excited to go into. We are running behind time slightly by exactly 15 minutes, and we will try to catch up so that we stick to the allocated time for the webinar. But our discussion is the participation of women in the energy and power sector. What is missing, and how can we close the gap? A lot of questions have been asked. Some have to do with how we access opportunities as women entrepreneurs. Other questions were a little technical on the structure of the sector and how those opportunities are opening up. The following speakers on the panel are going to share personal anecdotes on how they surmounted some of the challenges that they experienced in the sector. How do we address access to finance, access to market and technology? We have Ms. Tsitsi Musasike, Ms. Tsitsi Musasike from DBSA is also the author of Moneynomics, which speaks to the art and science of creating wealth. She is a project finance specialist within private equity, investment banking, development finance, consultancy, and engineering environment. She comes with extensive experience in sub-Saharan Africa, and today she's here representing the Development Bank of Southern Africa, which expands or extends financing support to more than South Africa, but to most of Southern Africa and other select markets on the continent. She is the Business Development Manager in Infrastructure, Finance, Energy, Environment, and ICT. We also have Ms. Thokozile Zambane. She's the Chief Operating Officer of Bayaka Infrastructure Partners. Thokozile is an infrastructure development professional committed to playing a meaningful role in the development of the African continent. She spent most of her time as a practicing attorney in the banking and finance sector, involved in a number of groundbreaking infrastructure development projects and public-private sector partnership projects. She has an extensive experience working for global multinationals such as Citibank and E.ON Energy in Germany. She has worked in the energy sector for the past 10 years as an advisor, project developer, and a trainer, and regularly facilitates project development and project finance training sessions. We have Ms. Tanya Krishna, who is joining us all the way from Australia. It is now quite late in Australia. It's about 8 to 9 p.m. and we are very grateful for her time sacrifice to join us. She is a senior executive with more than 20 years success, delivering exceptional results in the banking, insurance, financial sectors. She has been a partner in PV photovoltaic projects in the Northern Cape as Women in Power. These are the three panelists that we have today. I just want to confirm, is Ms. Tsitsi Musasike with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Beth.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we've got Ms. Tania, I can see, and Ms. Thokozile. I'm going to start with Ms. Thokozile because she has presented a short presentation to share her insights, follow on with some questions, and I will give everyone a chance to give opening remarks. Thokozile, are you ready to proceed with your presentation?
Yes, I am. Can you see me? Can you hear
If
me?
I can encourage you to get close to your mic, you're also very faint.
Okay.
We have struggled previously with just hearing speakers. If you can come closer.
Is it a bit better now?
It's still light.
Now, better? I don't know if this is working.
Yeah, I can hear you, but just stay at the,
I have to
there.
Okay,
Yes,
no
you
problem. No problem. Thank you very much, Bertha, and hello to everybody, and good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to come in to speak to you all this afternoon. I guess my presentation is really just around building blocks for success. I'm even still questioning the title because I'm not sure, success, it's such an elusive thing. You never really know what success, and especially in the energy sector, being such a complex sector, what do we call success? Is it, as Maimara always said, when we've made lots and lots of money as women and we've made a success of it, or is success, just surviving it, and staying the course and riding the journey through. So my presentation today is really just perspectives that I've gained and challenges that I've observed just from my journey in the energy space, in the energy sector. We can just go on to the next slide. Yes, so we've gone through my profile, and one thing that I just wanted to highlight about it is, which is really what ended up informing my USP for my capacity building business, has been my love and my passion for developing people and developing communities, and that really, and recognizing the fact that it's bigger than what's happening in the boardrooms. It's bigger than what's happening at the power plants. It's about communities. It's about the electrification of communities. And then it's about, the actual, the challenge we're facing with as an energy sector. It's not so much about access to electricity, but, the impact of a lack of access to electricity, which is what led me to founding a social investment initiative called Repower. And what we do is we distribute solar lighting solutions to households in informal settlements, so that, we're actually, because, large scale project development, yes, it's a great initiative, but it all requires for there to be a grid and for there to have actually been connections. So, I think that the solution is really a combination of your large scale, of your smaller embedded generation kind of solutions as well. And then just a bit, if we can move to the next slide, just a bit about my current role. I recently joined AWEaP Infrastructure Partners. I joined them in October last year. AWEaP Infrastructure Partners, just a little bit about ourselves. We're a licensed infrastructure fund manager with a mission to bring meaningful socioeconomic development on the African continent through equity investments in economic infrastructure projects. So we're an economic infrastructure fund with a bias, and economic infrastructure really, that boils down to transport, utilities, and ICT. And we've got a bias towards clean energy, simply because we've just seen the demonstrated impact and the returns that have been achieved in the Renewable Energy Independent Power Purchaser Program. So to just jump into next slide, please. I think, okay. So, and like I said, so the energy sector, and I guess I've been fortunate enough when I think about my career, the bulk of my career has really been spent working in the energy sector, and it's really what shaped my career and what also ended up shaping my entrepreneurial journey. The reason I'm actually an entrepreneur today is, directly linked to having been participating in the energy sector. And my presentation today really just focuses on some of the key challenges that are faced by women entrepreneurs in the sector. I think, a lot of the challenges, I think the challenges are well known. So what I'm hoping to give you in my presentation is just, okay, great, you were the only woman in the room, now what, and it's really just been measures that I then dealt with and just had to evolve on a certain level to just be able to surmount some of these challenges. And that's really my intention for today's presentation. Next slide. Fortunately, this is the last slide. All the information is here, and I'll just talk you through it. And what I really just, in unpacking, the challenges that I've just alluded to, and what I've shown you on, and what you got to see on the screen. I'm not sure if everybody's actually clearly seeing the presentation, but just to run through them, we're dealing with a complex business environment. We've got compliance issues, which is, something that Uma Elizabeth also touched on, negotiating power, knowledge and skills gap, and patriarchy. I think it's, the white elephant that we don't often speak about in the room, but it is important to recognize it as a challenge. And the building blocks, so just quickly running through them. So firstly, for me, and what I think is important, and I think it's a point that's been stressed throughout the presentation and throughout today's session, it is, it starts with compliance. As annoying as admin can be, but it starts with the compliance. Get your house in order. You would not leave the house not fully dressed. So you would not then want to leave your office and go chase a business opportunity if your house is not in order, if you are not bid ready. We can complain about it. I mean, if you look at private sector and private sector procurement, the vendor process and vendor registration is inevitable. You cannot fight it. So the best thing that you can just get in place for yourself as soon as possible is, go on to, if you're looking at Tshwane, or even, I like the CSD for, as a benchmark in terms of getting your documents in order. I like it because once you've done that CSD process, the government central supplier database, you kind of know you've got them all, because then we've covered your BEE certificate, we've covered your registration, we've covered SARS, we've covered a bank confirmation. It's simple things like that you just need to make sure you have in place. And really, I just, one thing I realized, and it's the silliest thing, but I mean, I remember my first tender submission, running around and realizing, oh my God, I actually, there's something wrong with my tax issues, and it's not then where you need to discover that, oh, Ghana, the tax man, I need to actually be ensuring constant compliance, so that becomes important. Also important is your corporate governance and corporate affairs, because at the end of the day, people dealing with your company need to know that that business, adheres to high corporate governance standards. When they are dealing with you, there's transparency in terms of how decisions are made. And it also just mitigates risk from a counterparty perspective, but also protects you, because as a shareholder in any business, if you happen to be in any kind of partnership, be in a partnership and make sure you've got your shareholders agreement in place. It's all fun and games when we're setting up companies together and we're getting along. It gets very difficult when we now need to unwind these assets that we've built together. And then just, point 2 and 3, which I think we've covered quite a bit about in the session, and that's really just understand, regulations and the industry. And that just speaks to understand the playing field. Again, you must know that we are here playing a game of soccer. And if you're playing a game of soccer, these are what the rules are. If you arrive with a hockey stick, you're in the wrong playing field, and certain opportunities won't really be available to you, or you won't even know what the opportunity is at that point in time. But I think, and what I wanted to stress specifically, just from a BEE perspective and leveraging BEE from a procurement, and there's opportunities and set-asides that happen. What a lot of business women, and don't realize, and especially business women under the age of 35, is that when corporate South Africa or even government is looking to procure, and why it becomes important that you have these, there's different classifications from a procurement perspective, is that, there's a requirement that you have to spend an X amount percentage on exempted micro enterprises. So those are enterprises that have a turnover under 10 million. There's a requirement that says you need to spend X percentage on Black owned businesses. There's a requirement that says you need to spend on women owned businesses. And then there's a requirement that will, that will recognize designated groups such as youth, the disabled, for example. So what you then need to recognize is just you, as you. I mean, before I turned 36 in December. It's horrible. I lost my last tick. But at that point in time, when somebody was buying and where they were looking at me, I was ticking 4 boxes. One product, 4 boxes. That becomes my competitive edge, and that's what you need to then understand, from a procurement level. When they say you're a level 1 entity, what does that mean? It means in Rand values, when a company is spending 1 Rand on you, they get 1 Rand 35 recognition in their books. Now, when you start understanding those numbers and you think about something like solar power or power generation, and you look at, power generation requirements that municipalities are going to have, that the private sector are going to have from mining clients. Now take it to a point when you think about an electricity bill. Think about the average monthly electricity consumption that a corporate or a public sector client would have. Think about, now look at that and say, how much recognition are they going to be able to claim in their books simply by buying that power from a Black woman-owned IPP? It really becomes a game changer, a numbers thing. Corporates are constantly, if you understand that enterprise and supplier development, when you look at that scorecard, understand that BE scorecard is saying, understand what is it that your client is trying to achieve? What are they testing for? If a scorecard is 40 points out of a scorecard that has 105 points, if 40 points sit in one element, and that element is ESD, you better understand that that's a very important element. And that's where you can easily try get a way into it, So that's that perspective. And then, like I said, know the players, know who you're dealing with. If you don't know who's who in the zoo, and that also speaks to, I think, the general theme about today's conversation has been know the value chain. Because until you know who the players are, you will not know what the value chain is. You will not know what the opportunity is. You will not know, okay, or I'm shorting here, I need to do this. How do I get in there? So great that there's an opportunity, but know who your audience is. And I think, to that point, knowledge becomes power. And I know it can be very daunting because it's such a big industry. Like how do I figure out who's who in the zoo? It's as simple as attending events like this. It's as simple that even when you've attended an event like this and you look at the event poster and you can see the companies that are listed there, you go Google those entities. Starts with something as that to try to figure out, why were they here? Why did they sponsor? Why are they interested? Where do they fit in? It's as simple as when you look at your news notifications, we all check News 24, we check whatever news we may find interesting. So, it is then, instead of, notifications that are purely based on, I don't know, whatever random topic is going on at the point, it's having clear notifications for energy stories. It is subscribing to things like engineering news. It's that kind of knowledge building. So that, because also what's important is when you are in those rooms, you must be able to say, hey, yeah, no, it was quite cool. Hey, that deal. Look at that project that they've just built in the Northern Cape. How exciting. And then you start unpacking and you then build that rapport and the conversation. And then what I wanted to highlight quickly is, again, in as much as women, there's a push for women ownership. And yes, being women is, what a blessing it is to be born woman. Like every day I thank the Lord that I was born female for such a time as this. But it goes beyond just being woman. You actually have to have a business case. So you actually need to be solving for a problem, because at the end of the day, mushy feelings aside, and yes, there's a tick box exercise that corporates need to do to make sure that they are meeting certain procurement requirements. They need to make sure that those businesses are still working, So whatever it is that you're supplying needs to meet the customer need. It's just that what you're doing is you're using procurement as a leverage and as a competitive edge, so that at the end of the day, when they're ticking and they're looking at all the suppliers, you all measure up, right? Great technology, great team, great structure, but then wait, there's more here, and I'm going to tick off the box, and that's how you get to the front of the line. Again, develop a USP. What is going to be your unique selling proposition? And I know, again, the industry is daunting. I had to have those same questions for myself because I'm not technical. I'm not technical at all. I can tell you that there's an inverter somewhere, but I don't have that technical grasp of things. It's been challenging for me. But what I had to go to was go back to myself, ask myself the question, what's in my hand? And I needed to play to my strengths so that I could discover what my USP was and what my USP has been, and what I've been able to position myself as, and what's allowed me to get the exposure on the continent, to be training. I mean, I've trained amazing, I've trained like over 10 DFIs on the African continent, just building capabilities. And it was simply because I played to my strength. I realized that I'm not an engineer, but you know what? I'm a project finance lawyer. It's a required skill. It's a necessary skill in infrastructure development. There are not a lot of female project finance lawyers. There are not a lot of project finance lawyers my age, and that's then what I worked off. So I think that becomes very important. But again, not everybody's going to have had the privilege or the benefit of having had a career growing up in the energy sector and in infrastructure development. But then again, once you understand the space, you understand the gap, you then find the partner. And I think sometimes what we also need to realize is that business, and as there is the concept of being a businesswoman is sometimes that you're not going to be the one that does the installation. You're not necessarily, but what you're solving for is you're the one that's going to create the opportunity for those who can do the installation, for partners that are looking to come into the country, for that. You need to start looking at yourself as a facilitator for change and opportunities. And it's only when you've done that research, when you've understood the sector, that you can say, hey guys, and then now you're that person that's bringing, and that's really what I've been able to do. I mean, so for example, in my experience as a project developer, little old me was involved in the development of a waste heat recovery power plant in Rustenburg with a ferrochrome smelter, working on a private PPA. It's been the longest slog ever. And that's also the thing, the high barriers of entry that exist is that, it's a long journey in Delendlela. If it's not long from a procurement processes and getting bid ready and vendor ready, it's long from a project development perspective because of the number of studies that need to be done. But I could easily have looked at it and said, I can't, I need to get this study done. I'm facing these guys. But then it was in that beautiful opportunity to be like, what, I need the skill. And it was then we went out to market. We found, did an RFP because what, we had an asset, we had a project we were working on, and we identified technical partners we could work with. We negotiated a JDA agreement. They then provided us with the necessary balance sheet and technical ability to now go to the IDC and say, look, can you fund our development costs? So I'm going to wrap up because I know my time and I think I want to just be quick on this. But then I just want to close off last 2 points. Just make sure you're negotiating for value, meaningful participation goes beyond just a shareholder certificate. Make sure that you get in that value chain because you must realize that a share certificate is a long-term thing because you would have borrowed money on those shares. So there actually really isn't cash flow. Long-term is great, balance sheet, but in the meantime, cash is king. Cash flow is important. Be in the value chain so that if you are in the project, when the first shovel hits the ground and your partners are getting some money, you're also getting some money. But that's why you must know your project, know the value chain, know what the procurement and the suppliers are. Look at the BOQ. That's a great place to start. Also, make sure that you understand the numbers, understand the legals. Don't be afraid of them. Ask the questions, read your documents carefully. Yes, you're negotiating power. You're going to feel small. They're going to seem big. But at the end of the day, you're important in that room too. And make sure that whatever you're signing up for, it matches the commercial arrangement as you've understood it. You don't need to be a lawyer to make sure of that. You need to be a person that has understood what you're commercially agreeing to and that can read a document and see if the two coordinate. And again, don't feel forced to sign any document because otherwise you're going to be pressured for the rest of your life in that relationship. And then in closing, 1 or 2 minutes, one quick closing is that the last really building block for success is you. The real MVP, the real, the most valuable player in whatever it is that you're trying to do is going to be you. So it's going to be very important that, you're continuously working on personal development. I need to quote Lauren Hill, but how you going to win when you ain't right within? So it becomes very important that you're doing that. Professional development, be part of organizations, find programs that you can be part of. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be part of a program with GIPS that at Gibbs that was for green entrepreneurs. As part of, I was selected for the Power Africa Women in African Power program that has given me a continental network of other amazing women on the continent that are working in energy. Find allies, find associations, and basically, turn that intersection of prejudice into power. And in closing, I'd like to just leave you with the following quote, which really summarizes my assessment of the energy sector. And it simply says, the doors of opportunity are unlocked, but you will never know unless you try and open them first. And with that, thank you very much for the opportunity, Bertha.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think your, your presentation has been inspiring and very insightful and informative. And it will tie in with some of the insights that Tania is going to share. And I want to welcome Tania to share her road in the energy space, especially when it comes to project management, her advice to women entrepreneurs that are looking at the renewable energy space as it's opening up not only in South Africa, but on the continent, and how you can position yourself. You would have had Thokozile kept on repeating your unique selling USP, your unique selling proposition. What is it in the market that you are going to use to differentiate yourself as an energy entrepreneur? Tania, welcome. I am really delighted that you've made the time sacrifice to join us. Please share your thoughts.
Thank you. Thanks, Bertha. So I guess my history is really, I'm based, even though I'm based here in Sydney, I did my first 86 megawatt plant in South Africa, which was a renewable energy project. And from that came huge learnings for me. So I guess what I'd like to share today is really the softer aspects of what I found personally, having done the transaction myself, not only having done a sizable transaction, but having dealt with not only local partners, but international partners as well. And that was a great learning for me. Certainly the progress on gender equality in the energy sector has been modest at best. And now the effort to narrow the gaps, I guess, faces new challenges, like you hear, in the form of automation trends, but most importantly, the regressive impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the challenges for women that are really long-standing barriers make it harder for them to adapt to the future of work in the power and energy sector. And gender inequality in the energy workforce isn't new. And we can't actually afford to overlook the potential candidate pool. And as business starts to ramp up again, the talent holes keep appearing. And for the energy sector, attracting and retaining talent is a skills gap staring us in the face. So today I'd like to focus our conversation on three aspects. One of empowerment, because it's vitally important, but it ties in with advancement and transformation. And in doing that, I cover aspects of cultural change that is required, because it's lovely to understand all those things that are required to put a tender together. But if there isn't a culture change, if there isn't a culture change, we're never going to progress more than we have so far. Certainly mentorship is great and key on the agenda, which I feel that we could do better as women and men in the organization. Role transformations, I guess cross-sector strategy, not only expertise from the power and energy, but expertise from mining, expertise from all other sectors that can help enhance the power and energy sector and the enhancement of women. And I guess together with that, the implementation of legal quotas. So let's touch a little bit about the cultural change that I personally have experienced and I'm very passionate about as I progress in this particular field. And this cultural change, I believe, begins at the top. And it's twofold. We need more women at executive levels so that they can be role models to younger women everywhere, showing them that it is possible to break the glass ceiling. And if we can't lead from the top, the energy sector will find itself with a limited approach to an executive talent pool. So cultural change for all of us can be very complicated. But I think utilizing the softer benefits will allow companies to make quicker advancement when it comes to incentivizing women to stay and join the workforce. And I think it's vital for industry to attract more females to pursue a career, not only in the engineering field, but finance and business. And this starts with a cultural shift. Mentorship, and I think next it's really, we need to create an open, inviting workforce across a typically male-dominated field. And this includes technical, offshore and international assignments, not only in South Africa, not only within the African continent, but give women in South Africa and within Africa the opportunity to do international assignments. There's a big learning in all of that for all of us. And if you're a lone woman in the Department of Men, you already feel like you stand out. So I guess that breeds extra pressure to perform, and women need senior sponsorship in these roles. So they offered the same opportunity to advance, and getting it right would impede the number of women leaving the industry midway in their careers and build a huge pipeline of senior talent. So I think that it's important to know that women are welcome in that sector and that they feel welcome in the sector. And therefore we need women across all levels of the organization for the sector to actually prosper. And this includes making strategic decisions in the boardroom, or designing new technology, or even maintaining that technology in the field. So the industry needs to keep moving forward towards a truly diverse sector until it becomes a reality. So what do I talk about when I say cross-sector strategies for enhancement? And I talk about gender equality that requires cross-sector strategy that successfully include women in the renewable energy workforce. And empowering women means facilitating professional enhancements while promoting system transformation. So in order to advance the women's careers, it's necessary to improve the access to employment and financial resources. And this stems from investing in a woman's human and social capital through education, skills development, and a creation of a valuable professional network. And I think a lot of women have spoken about the value of professional network. And for me, that has been key in success in various transactions, not only in South Africa, but internationally as well. And I guess the transformation piece, while establishing implementation quotas, is key. And I think this is required to make women visible in leadership roles. It creates role models. It portrays differences in society, cultural, ethnic, gender traits. And if saying you can't be what you can't see holds true, then there are benefits in promoting women in senior decision-making roles based on quotas, so they can inspire other women to challenge gender career paths. And these efforts can be matched with significant investment in training and scholarships to encourage women to pursue science, technology, maths, engineering, including business. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to have all disciplines and levels of education and provide support via mentorship, knowledge sharing, and skills development. Economic advancement alone is only part of the answer. And I know we've spoken a lot about economic empowerment, but empowering women requires a wider system transformation to tackle gender stereotypes, cultural biases. These are the things that obstruct women in the entrance into the renewable sector: job retention, career enhancement. And I think the renewable energy workforce can do well if it relooks its recruitment practices. And I think it's critical, it's certainly of critical importance to design inclusive recruitment practices to facilitate women's entrance into the sector, such as making common practice to write descriptions in a gender neutral language. And such small steps can greatly contribute to creating flexible and inclusive work environments, and should account for many women dual roles as professionals and caregivers. We often forget that we're not only professionals, but we're mothers, we're sisters, and we're wives. And further to that, safety in the workplace is also paramount. And crucially, employers should enforce zero tolerance policies around sexual harassment, gender-biased discrimination. All of those softer skills are key, together with the technical experiences required in the energy sector. So the use of a baseline and good monitoring indicators for gender equality increases transparency and accountability. And the type of evaluation should be taken regularly, like you do your financials and performance evaluations on an annual basis. Good monitoring and indicators of gender equality is key regularly. So existing resources, toolkits that are already in place in the energy sector. And although there's not a one-size-fits-all strategy, this constitutes a great starting point for business regulators and organizations throughout the world, not just South Africa and the continent. And I think also of importance is supporting coalitions that advocate for greater gender inclusion. And these range from international women's networks, associations to supporting champions of gender identity, people who stand up for gender equality, and employee-led diversity and inclusion strategies in the workplace. This is of great importance. Those coalitions could never be underestimated. And I guess my final point is that even though we still have a long way to level the playing field, as women only account for a very, very small percentage of the global energy workforce, creating the opportunity for women and the next generation in the energy sector can be an inspiration and can lift not only the African continent, but the global economy, whilst we contribute to a more just society. But this goal we can only meet collaboratively. Thanks, Bertha.
Thank you so much, Tania. I think you have touched not only economic empowerment of women, but also you have looked at within corporates and how we address gender equity. I am going to move quite swiftly to invite Ms. Tsitsi Musaseki. Your surname is very similar to my language. When we call someone beautiful, we say Usasekile. So Musaseki is a surname I'm quite excited about. You are welcome, and I will take questions and answers and go into conversation after your presentation.
Right. Thank you very much, Bertha. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the beautiful ladies on this platform this afternoon, and all the beautiful gents on this platform as well this afternoon. Thank you very much, AWEaP, for the fantastic opportunity to be able to present the DBSA on this platform this afternoon. My name is Tsitsi Musaseki. I'm a principal deal originator at the DBSA. This afternoon, I'm going to be introducing the DBSA, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, and then to talk about the challenges that women face, women entrepreneurs face in accessing finance, to propose solutions and also to give an indication of where and what platforms they can access for funding information. Thank you. The next slide, please. Yes, so that's the contents for this afternoon. We can move on to the next one, please. So for those that do not know, you need to know who the DBSA is because we're talking funding this afternoon. The DBSA, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, is a development finance institution. It is 100% owned by the South African government. We report directly into the National Treasury. Our mandate as DBSA is to roll out the South African government's infrastructure delivery objectives across sub-Saharan Africa with specific focus on the SADC region. Key focus sectors for the DBSA include energy, transport and logistics, water and sanitation, and ICT. The previous slide, please. We're still introducing the DBSA. So key focus sectors include energy, transport and logistics, water and sanitation, and ICT. But because we're a DFI, we also have a social mandate. We also look at the education, health, and social housing sectors. Still on the DBSA has been very active in the economic infrastructure space. We've seen a significant growth in our energy and power portfolio, especially the renewable energy portfolio. We were involved in putting together the procurement framework for the REIP, Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Procurement Program, that Elizabeth spoke to earlier on this afternoon. We have also provided funding for the projects from round 1 to round 4. We're currently working on round 5 and hope to continue to support renewable energy projects across sub-Saharan Africa. So we've provided both senior debt, mezzanine debt, and empowerment finance to previously disadvantaged parties, including local communities. In rolling out these projects, we also seek to empower women. We have recently launched a project preparation product that will assist women who own 30% of an awarded project under REIP, round 5, to tap into this funding in order to take their projects to financial close. So my brief today is to speak about the funding challenges. Next slide, please. So the big elephant in the room this afternoon is having a balance sheet large enough to be able to get an equity stake and actively participate in the energy programs, such as the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Procurement Program. Without a balance sheet, how then can you get the funding? I'm here to say this afternoon that DBSA's funding support under the IPP programs is based on project cash flow model. We structure the loan in such a way that the project cash flows are able to service the debt or the loan. However, you would be required to contribute a certain portion of the equity requirement as your own contribution, to the extent that the cash flows on the project cannot service the debt that you're looking for or to support the shareholding that you're looking for in the project. You will be required to either reduce your participation in the project or to contribute more. But once you're in the project, I guess that's the important thing, to get started, to get into the project and to make sure that you implement the project. Once you're in the project, you also have the ability to earn additional revenues by providing services to the project company outside of the equity participation, such as O&M services, EPC, socio-economic development, monitoring and evaluation services, to the extent that you have the capabilities or experience to do so. Next slide, please. The second elephant in the room is obviously the track record. Lenders always look for a track record. The track record to be able to implement a project in the magnitude of the REIP program. This is a key requirement by funders and also under the RFP or bidding requirements for REIP. I think Elizabeth alluded earlier on to the fact that to the extent that you can't play under REIP, you can look at the small IPP program. But this afternoon, I'm focusing on REIP, on how you can position yourself for REIP. It ensures that, the track record ensures that when the project is not performing, you have the financial muscle or you have the muscle to step in and fix the problems. So in order to do so, you need to form partnerships. Elizabeth again spoke about the importance of partnerships. Tokozile also hinted at that. So form partnerships with experienced developers or IPPs. The challenge always is that we refuse as entrepreneurs to acknowledge that we cannot implement a project that we have been involved with from birth. But also by bringing an IPP on board, for instance, you might end up being a minority shareholder in a project that you have originated and have seen from birth. But this is fine, right? Because at least you have 10% or 20% of something that will happen because of the expertise that you'll be getting instead of having 100% of a project that is not progressing. So whilst you're in this partnership with the IPP, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Thokozile spoke to this. Educate yourself throughout this partnership and make sure that come the next round, you can prove that you have the track record. Next slide, please. The next elephant is where to look for the funding. What funding instrument best fits your project? I've already highlighted the role of the DBSA under the program. We provide senior debt, we provide mezz debt. We also provide empowerment finance for local projects in the key sectors. Commercial banks also play a key role. Institutional investors such as Old Mutual, they've been very active under the Renewable Energy Program as well. Private equity funds are also there. Some support even own equity contribution. Regional and international DFIs also play a key role in the infrastructure unlocking space on the continent. We're looking at the likes of the IDC, Development Bank of Namibia, the African Development Bank, and so on. Next slide, please. The next issue then is, you need to have a bankable project. Financial institutions are big on asking you for a project information memorandum. They want to know that you have a financial model. They want to know that you've done all the necessary studies, your EIA, your wind or resource studies, before they consider funding or entertaining your request. These are key requirements. So the proposed solution is that if you're looking to participate on the big projects, you need to acknowledge that you cannot do this on your own. As an entrepreneur, you're obviously used to doing everything on your own. You need to form partnerships. Elizabeth spoke to the importance of partnerships. For the renewable energy program, look at the SAWEA website. Contact details are listed there. Get in touch and see who is prepared to work with you. Attend webinars such as this one, DMRE events, in order to grow your network and to identify who you can work with within your network. Next one, please. And finally, lack of early development funding required to take your project to bankable feasibility and to build the project successfully. Form partnerships again with experienced developers and IPPs. They have extensive experience in South Africa's bidding process. Mind you, most of them have gone through all 5 bidding phases, so they know. Post-bid award, if this is under REAP round 5, you own 30% in the project company, you're more than welcome to approach the DBSA for the project development facility that I spoke to earlier on. This instrument targets Black women-owned entrepreneurs, and it will support, the funding support offered will help you to take your project from bid award to financial close. This is all from me, but happy to take questions and also listen to other challenges that women on this platform might be facing. Thank you very much, AWEA.
Thank you so much. This is exactly the information that we were looking to share on this platform. And I think we had structured this as a panel discussion, but I think the format that our esteemed speakers have taken have served us, giving us succinct information and directing us in the right places. I just want to make an acknowledgement. We are very fortunate today to have been joined by the former Deputy Minister for Energy, Ms. Thembisile Majola. We welcome you and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It really means a lot for African women in energy and power, and for the delegates to know that those who pioneered the sector and the changes in the sector are still following its progress in participating in these platforms. I want to thank Ms. Tsitsi for her informative presentation. It pulls together information that was shared by Thokozile. It pulls together information that was shared by Ms. Elizabeth, and it focuses on what we need to do as entrepreneurs in the sector to prepare ourselves, not only to participate as project developers, but to partner with the right people within a broad ecosystem of stakeholders in the energy sector. We are definitely at 2:33. We had planned to conclude our webinar at 2:30. I'm just going to look at questions from the audience. I see that there is comments from different participants who are very grateful for the information shared. We are definitely going to share the presentations and the notes that were shared during this afternoon session on our website by tomorrow. Please look out for the presentations. It will contain contact details of our speakers, websites of their organizations. Part of participating successfully in the sector is following up on the guidelines and the tips that you are given while the news are fresh and while you have the understanding, so that you can find a way to participate in the sector. With those words, I would like to conclude the session. Respect your time as you have also respected our resources by joining the platform and attending to the session, and bid you farewell for this afternoon. A great thank you to our technical team that ensured that everything ran smoothly. A great thank you to our speakers that brought the content that we required to make this a valuable session. We are committed to continuously bringing information that is relevant to enable women's participation in the energy and power sector. Thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much, Betha. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bertha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well organized webinar. Thank you very much, Betha and your colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it.